M, folks, 24/7, very good programming, and in between all of that, some really evocative music too. So, yeah, stay tuned. Now, we saw a play from a group of people, real youngsters. I mean, we're talking in 18 and 19-year-olds, and it was really strong. So even though there were only 3 performances which finished last night, I want to take the opportunity to sort of mention their names, because hopefully we're going to be hearing more of them, and for a script to be written by a young man, the way that this was, it was quite something. It's called Mortality, and it was on at the Butterfly Club. Now, for those people who don't know where the Butterfly Club is, it's Little Collins Street between Flinders Street and Elizabeth Street, correct?
Yeah, in Carson Place.
Carson Place, yeah, I mean, you can look it up. The funny thing is, if you put it into your Google machine or you put it into your maps, it told me I was there in Collins Street, and I, of course, couldn't get across. So you've got to go, if you go down Collins Street, you've got to find a way across the Little Collins to get into Carson Place. Mortality. A couple of strangers find themselves trapped in a barren room with a gun. They got no idea how they got there or what will become of them. And in any event, the outlook is bleak, because one could shoot the other, or they could both starve to death. One of the characters is known simply as A, played by Boaz Hume. He's a 19-year-old. He starts with bravado, but then his vulnerabilities are exposed. The 2 great loves of his life are no longer with him, and he's lost his job. And the other one is known as B, A and B. B being Lara Anderson. She's an 18-year-old. She's in a much better place and is engaged to be married. Now, I think they're playing characters that are older than they are. That's my impression. But anyway, A hates his life on the outside. B has a great deal to live for. He tries to engage her in conversation. At first she resists, but then she begins to thaw. The situation itself, well, that remains tense and unrelenting. And the question posed is, will they find a way through, if indeed there is a way through? One thing is certain: crying out for help will come to naught. And as time passes, they will grow hungrier. So Mortality marks the stage debut for Alexander Dimilovsky as both writer and director. He's also 18, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yep, he's only 18, yep.
He's done a really fine job. The premise is a good one, tension's apparent throughout, and it's a case of one step forward and another back. And I thought it was a really strong piece of theatre. What did you think?
Oh, the same. I thought it was absolutely amazing. And when you consider that Boaz Hume only joined the cast 2 weeks before opening night, just absolutely amazing. It is a 2-hander, which is both very hard to write and also very hard to perform, especially when you've got one actress that's had a lot longer to learn the lines than what Boaz did. I thought it was an absolutely amazing performance, and such a mature production as well for Alexander. I had my first theatrical production on stage when I was 19, and at that time people were saying that, oh, I'm surprised how mature the writing was. Well, I actually think that Alexander's writing was even more mature than mine. It was amazing. It felt like you were watching a James Wan Saw movie, but with characterization and more of a storyline to it. I thought the conversation between the 2 characters was absolutely amazing. In fact, I sat there so engrossed that when it ended, I was like, oh, did it finish? It just was one of those moments where I actually wanted it to go longer because I wanted to know more.
Well, the script allows us to reflect upon what we would do if, God forbid, we found ourselves in similar circumstances. I mean, really, often when you're in that sort of insular environment, when you're trapped and so forth, you really feel for the characters, and you build an affinity, and you want them to both survive, and often they don't. We're not about to spoil the surprise. I'm hoping they bring back Mortality so that people can see it for themselves. But the young actors, really strong and effective, highlighting the ebbs and flows of captivity, and it becomes a game of cat and mouse, with, dare I say, without any cheese. But both impress with their poise and their polish, and they readily channel vulnerability, distress, fear. There's anger there as well, of course, and there are moments of joy. And at the core of this play, Mortality, is the question of just what is a meaningful life. It may be a truism, but it speaks volumes about making each moment count, for we really never know what might be just around the corner. It could be seconds away. So the sword of Damocles is perilously close throughout the ordeal faced by this pair. And it was only a short one. It was 45 minutes. But, together with sound effects and TikTok and so forth, TikTok sounds, it was really quite special. And it's a pity it's only running for 3 nights. How full was it? You went on which night did you go? I think you went on Thursday night.
I went on opening night, yeah, and it was packed. It was completely full. And also credit to the actors, because on the night that I went along, a group of people accidentally wandered into the theatre when they were actually supposed to be in the other theatre, and instead of just standing there realising they were in the wrong theatre and leaving, they started talking out loud. So the actors had that distraction, and they just pushed through it, kept on going like mature professionals.
Wow. How did you hear about Mortality or this particular show and them?
I was invited by the writer-director to go along.
So did you know him beforehand, or?
No. He reached out to me because he heard that I was a playwright before I started doing reviewing. So yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah, because I got a very nice note from him afterwards as well, sort of saying he didn't know how I found out about it, but he was really gracious. I really want to see more from both of the actors and also from Alexander Dimilovsky, because they really, Boaz Hume and Lara Anderson are the 2 actors. So we'll watch out for it, and hopefully we'll see their stars rise. I think it's a heck of a start, that's for sure. So that's one that I wish we could say to you folks, go along and see, but if it comes back, we will tell you about it. Now,